All right, System Wars, we're back with another Pedal to the Metal podcast, and we are very lucky today. We are having an extremely exciting cast for everybody today because we have on Community Manager Synthia on the show today. Before we get to Synthia and introduce her, we want to take a moment and introduce the co-host of Pedal to the Metal, the man, the myth, the hashtag legendary, Heil68. What's going on, Heil?
Not much. Pretty excited about tonight's show, so want to personally thank Synthia for reaching out and coming to our show. It's very nice of you, so we appreciate that very much. We also have on our other co-host, Animal Mother. What's going on, Animal?
Back up your hard drives. How you guys doing tonight? Thank you, Synthia, for coming on with us.
Yeah, of course.
System Wars tip of the week: back up your hard drives. Luckily, pro tip. I lost about a terabyte of data.
Awesome. But you recovered a lot of it, didn't you?
Well, the guy at the computer store recovered it for a low price of $200.
Oh, he should have sent it to me. I would have.
He used some program from Russia. I don't know.
I could have gotten it out.
Kyle would have hit it with a hammer and made it.
I buy web series. I found out that it costs $700 to send away for data recovery. So I was like, I'll pay you $200. Great. Thanks a lot. But on to Jeff, Eureka, take the reins. I don't know what your name is anymore.
Yeah, it's whatever you want it to be. We're also on today. We want to, before we get to both of our guests, because we actually have two on today, let's introduce Synthia. And Cynthia's last name is Stardust, everyone, in case you didn't know this. But we want to introduce Synthia. Synthia, how are you?
I'm great. It's Thursday, which means it's payday Thursday at GameSpot, which means that there's beer for everybody who's a part of the GameSpot staff or GameSpot family or whatever. And so I'm just hanging out here, getting ready to have my last in-office day for the week. They usually let me work from home on Friday, which is pretty slick.
That's really
well, it lets me spend some time with my kid, because for those of you who are aware or are not aware, I have a 4-year-old. And so working
God bless you.
In the city, I have to commute with some pretty intense-ish hours, and so I don't usually get to see her a whole heck of a lot. And so, especially when we get towards the con season, they let me work from home on Fridays so that I can spend some time with her. So.
Very cool. So what would be your drink of choice then at GameSpot Thursday?
Well, hard liquor, but since they don't usually afford that option, I'm currently drinking a hard cider.
Excellent.
I know.
You know what, Clyde? Clyde would love you on
there
System Wars. He's a big time cider guy.
Well, he's a big hard cider fan.
He is. He loves his hard cider.
I feel I would go to New England for a hard cider. Like, I'd come visit you to be like, yeah, I'm going to get hard ciders with Eureka.
Yeah, man, come on up anytime.
I was gonna, but the snow stopped us.
So, let's introduce our other guest then today. We've got on Blabadon. Now, Blabadon is coming to us from the Midwest, where I'm pretty sure it's freezing cold for him as well. So what's going on, Blabadon?
I keep telling you I'm not in the Midwest.
Where are you? Where are you, in the West Coast?
Well, does Arkansas count as the Midwest?
We call everything on the other side of the Mississippi River is the West Coast for us.
All right, that works.
West Coast.
That works. Yeah, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on. Gonna enjoy talking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is former GameSpot community member Blabadon. So we're gonna maybe talk a little bit about that later too. So
I may be there right now. I may.
Animal, why don't you start our line of questioning today with her, and let's get into it.
So if you could describe to the audience, actually, what is your exact role at GameSpot, and what everyday responsibilities do you have?
So my official title is community producer, but it's technically community manager as far as public is concerned. It's just a weird CBS thing that my title is officially producer. My day usually involves checking in with the moderators, making sure that there isn't anything super bad happening. Super bad is anywhere from like a death threat to users harassing other users, to users harassing moderators.
Does that really happen? Like death threats?
To other moderators or to staff members? To staff members
just in general.
To moderators, we've had a few instances. I won't say who, obviously, but we've had instances where moderators have stepped down or taken sabbaticals because of harassment.
That's crazy. I'm very, very fortunate to have become a moderator over the past couple of weeks, and I think that I would freak out if somebody actually tried to threaten my life on GameSpot. I think I would be like, wow, that just went way over the line.
Somebody did that to me in Dota 2 once over a pair of boots. They go, I'm going to find you and I'm going to fucking kill you. I was like, it's a bunch of ones and zeros, dude. Come on.
Well, because part of it is that people get really invested in their careers at GameSpot. They like their communities. They like being a part of the community. And when a moderator steps in to say, you can't be a part of this anymore because you're being kind of a jerk, people don't really like being told that they have to leave. And so sometimes they take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes they're like, you know what, you're right, my bad, okay, and then they move on. Other times, things become escalated, and those are not fun days. So
did that happen with the redesign of the site? Was there just like a lot of threats coming through the filters, or
not towards moderators? I mean, there was every once in a while you'd get the private message that was along the lines of "fix it, or I'm going to leave," or "fix it, or I will sue your site," or things like that. But like nothing ever really comes of those.
So you're not in litigation over changing the website?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Now, just a quick question that Jeff, I'm gonna go a little off script here that isn't on this question sheet. GameSpot is owned by CBS overall, or just a branch of CBS Interactive? What is it?
So we are directly owned by CBS Interactive. So we are in the CBS Interactive building, and CBS Interactive is part of the CBS family.
Okay.
So, like, my dream is that one day Neil Patrick Harris will walk into the office because he needs to borrow highlighters or something. I don't know why. And then I can give him a big hug. Like, that's my dream.
Tell him Animal Mother said hello.
I will sit him down and be like, all of these people wish to say hello to you.
Now, my next question is, do you interact with the reviewers and online personalities during your daily routine? And who are your favorite people from the site?
Constantly, because in addition to working with the moderators and the developers, I also manage a lot of the social media that goes out. So Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Instagram, all of that good fun stuff. Usually I have a pretty big hand in that. My favorite people to work with is a really tricky / trap question, and I almost don't answer it. But some of my, if I had to pick, if you're twisting my arm and all of that good fun stuff, I'd have to say Danny is amazing to work with. He's just always, he has this energy about him that helps you want to be better at anything that you do. Content wise, especially, like he's kind of this weird inspiration. Chris is also super high up on that chart. He's got a very similar vibe, though a little like, he has this weird kind of almost Disney Prince characteristic about him, where like I can almost visualize him bursting into song and dance to try and encourage you to be better. Whereas Danny, I don't see that. Danny, no singing, no dancing. And then third would probably be one of our newer members. And if you guys watched the latest episode of The Lobby, you'll know who I'm talking about. Her name is Mary Kish, and she's a video producer. And she is, I am in all of the lesbians with her. Like, she is amazing. She's just this like sprite-like spirit that bounds around the office. She takes on so much work. She was originally a contractor for us during E3, I think, and then definitely for Comic-Con. And then she just busted her ass and was amazing at what she did. And she came on permanently, and so now she's one of like the top end video producers here. So she's just a lot of fun to work with.
I have another question. Are you the conduit between the developers and the publishers and the site, since you are the, I guess, community producer?
When you say the developers and publishers, you're talking about from GameSpot, right?
I mean from game companies.
From game companies. Sometimes, so like when we have that type of talent on air, I'm usually the one who grabs questions from the community or will work as a conduit for them. Yes. That is something that I do from time to time, which is really exciting because that means I get to meet people like Ken Levine and try.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ken Levine's a Queens boy. Gotta give it up for Ken. New York, New York.
My favorite developer interaction though was with David Jaffe during E3 2011.
He seems like he'd be like a pretty cool guy to hang out with, have a beer with.
A lot.
He what?
So do we.
He swears his punctuation. It's pretty adorable. I like him a lot.
I have a quick question before we move on from your favorite people on the site. Where exactly does Tom McShay? Yes, I'm gonna say it. I'm putting it out there. Is Tom there? Is he standing with you?
Is Tom there?
So I'm actually in an office right now. And by office I mean like one of the conference rooms that we have. So he is not near me at the moment. I believe he is also out of office, and I won't say why, but he's out of office right now.
Tell him Animal Mother is a big fan. I love Tom McShay.
Why do you love Tom McShay?
Because however he spins it, he always causes a big stir and a big ruckus.
We Q&As with our staff fairly regularly in the GameSpot community blog, right? So like we've had Kevin on a couple of times, we've had Tom on once or twice, Chris, Danny, they've all like shown up like ready to sit in there and like take your questions, comments, queries, moral objections.
How long have you been the community producer at GameSpot?
I have been with GameSpot. It will be 3 years this April.
How did you become a community manager?
So before becoming a CM at GameSpot, I was a stay-at-home mom who ran a lot of gaming tournaments out of my hometown's local game shop. So like Super Smash Brothers tournaments, Dungeons and Dragons games, board game night. We'd try and host like LANs for things like Quake or TF2. Those were never really super popular because people had to bring in their own machines and it was just a little clunky, but like we'd still get decent turnout. Ooh, I like it. He just flashed his Titanfall controller, and so I'm like salivating.
March 11.
I want it so bad. I had to ship 3 of those out. It was like the most amazing thing ever. Like whenever we get cool swag that we're supposed to send out to people, I'm like, fine. I hope this person likes this as much as they say they will.
March 11th.
I think the mods actually at GameSpot should get a nice Titanfall controller when you guys get your hands on some.
Okay, you send it to me since you don't have an Xbox One.
Okay,
shut up, Kyle.
Cow.
Shut up, Kyle.
Okay, Mr. Cow, Royka, please.
Hey, let's not hate on the cows, all right? I have Anyway, so I met Jody through my parents because my stepdad has worked for video game publishers and developers in the past. He actually used to work with Dan Mahoric at Factor 5. So he worked on the Rogue Squadron, Rogue Leader games. And so he knew Jody because he worked with Jody's former boyfriend. And I met Jody just like as another powerful female in gaming because she used to have another sister site that she worked on from time to time called Lady Gamers. And so like I just met her and would talk to her and, you know, we'd chit chat back and forth because, you know, when you're a stay-at-home mom, you don't really have a whole lot of outlets other than other moms, and other moms weren't really my cup of tea because I like things like video games and comic books and metal and stuff like that. And they're
awesome.
Like, are kids into video games? I'm like, you're adorable. I don't know if we can keep having conversations. Like, so yeah. And then there were other things that like I just didn't agree with the parents on. Like, I refuse to get my kid vaccinated, and we're just not going to get into that whole string of like awkward debate
Jenny McCarthy.
Right. But like anyway, so there were just I couldn't stand the mom groups in my area, and so I leaned on Jody and a few other females that I knew in the industry, and then next thing I knew, my daughter's father, since we were no longer together, was like, I'm gonna stop working. And I'm like, okay, crap. So I started frantically looking for work, and then Jody was like, well, you know, we're hiring. I was like, okay. And so on a wing and a prayer, I kind of came in, like showed them how passionate I was about gaming, showed them what I had done as far as like tournaments or rallying the community together for anything really. And she was just like, cool, I like you. You've got good energy. You're creative. Come work with me. And so here I am. More often than not, we have really good fun days. I mean, every once in a while you get like a weird like businessy day where, you know, somebody from on high comes down and they're like, numbers, blah, 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 traffic, blah, 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 performance, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, cool. And like those conversations last for like a day. We do what we need to do, and then we go back to having fun.
So yeah, so Synthia, we want to transition a little bit away from kind of your roles as a professional at GameSpot and move on into the gaming section. I'm going to let Heil take this section.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So what are some of your gaming interests and where did they stem from, or do you just tell us a little bit of your history of gaming?
So I was fortunate enough to have really, really nerdy parents. Like, we're talking Star Wars convention. My name was I'm actually named after a keyboard. Like, that's how nerdy my parents are.
Wait. We're named after a keyboard?
So there's a synthesizer that they produced in the early 80s called a Synthia. You can Google it. Yeah. So my dad used to do techno music, and he was an aspiring video game music composer. He never took off and never really did anything with it, because back in the day it was a lot harder to like show off your wares. And, you know, he's a little white boy from California who's going to listen. But so he had a synthesizer called a Synthia, and then I was a surprise for my family. It was not exactly planned. But so when they found out they were having a baby, they had to sell a bunch of their stuff to, you know, afford for baby stuff like cribs and clothes and stuff. And so when they found out that I was going to be a girl, my dad decided that my name was going to be Synthia with an S, so that he would always have a Synthia in his life. So
that's awesome.
We should have named this The History of Synthia.
Well, it kind of is.
But
yeah.
So my gaming background stems from the fact that I had a really, really nerdy family growing up. Like, my mom is a core gamer.
That's awesome.
And nobody ever believes me when I say this, but she's the kind of parent who, there was a spider that wove a web that looked like the Lambda symbol from Half-Life, and she tweeted out with a photo of it saying, "Lambda symbol appeared magically in my household, Half-Life 3 confirmed."
Oh my god.
Right. She's Donner. I want to say she's Donner Party on Twitter, but like she's still playing Skyrim. She loves playing Portal 2 with her husband. She's just now getting into Terraria because it's sort of relaxing and it's just digging and building. She's not into Facebook games at all. Never has been. Probably never will be. The closest thing was we used to have an ongoing battle for Bejeweled back when that first came out on Facebook, because, like, I don't know, it was something that she could do during lunch, and so we'd constantly try and beat each other's high scores. But so yeah, so I came from a super nerdy family. We had a Nintendo early on, and then the SNES came out. My mom gave me and my brother the NES, and so we'd fight over it and play it all of the time. And then, like, so as my mom upgraded, we would get the old console.
Awesome, yeah.
I can remember very vividly when Shadowrun for the SNES came out. We were not allowed anywhere near the console out of fear that, like, the file would get saved over or deleted. Like, my mother threatened us. She was just like, if anything happens to this, just remember I brought you into this world and I can take you out of it. Like, I can very, very clearly remember this. And she'll back me on that. She was kind of a hard ass. She's fun.
So your mom is the most awesome human being on planet Earth, is what you're saying.
She's a pretty awesome mom. As far as moms go, she's pretty kick-ass. My dad was mainly into nerd culture, so things like Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, like mainly classic nerd stuff is what I remember being spoon-fed from him. That and Aliens. Like, he was super big into the Aliens franchise. And so I can remember us, like, cuddling up, like, in late nights after my parents split up, and we would watch, like, the Aliens trilogy, like, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So my gaming background, my gaming/nerd background mainly stems from the fact that I had a very supportive, nerd-oriented family. Where I know a lot of people have, like, parents who are like, what is this newfangled Nintendo and why do you need it? Like, I never had that, which sounds cool, but at the same time, like, I couldn't get away playing Grand Theft Auto because my mom knew exactly what that was. Like, I couldn't get away with playing Mortal Kombat because, again, my mom knew exactly what that was.
It's funny you mentioned, though, the parent thing, because, like, I'm going through that now with my own kids, and, like, my son will come home and be like, "Oh, Dad, there's this game Call of Duty that everyone talks about at school, and I think it's okay to play." It's like,
no,
actually, son, no, it's not. And
wait,
so
what's really awesome? Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. Like, no, give me a second. Like, it is.
No, Giant Bomb gave me the lowdown on that today. They said it's multiplayer only.
It is multiplayer only,
It
which
is.
is, but they do have couch co-ops.
Oh, okay. Eureka, does your family know who Garrus Vakarian is?
Oh my God, they have Garrus bed sheets, man.
No, well, no.
My oldest son he at Christmas he got A Link Between Worlds, the Zelda handheld, and he's played through it 3 times on regular and once on hero mode. And the kid's 8 years old, and he's played it front to back, and like I beam with pride, like because it's like that's amazing. That's amazing.
But it's probably pretty difficult too. But we're going to ask you anyway. We always struggle with this. But what are your 3 top games of all time?
God, I hate this question so fucking much.
Alan Wake.
There you go. So I'm gonna have to go with The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Don't boo me.
Can't boo you.
Labadon.
I can't get banned again, can I?
Yeah.
No, not really. Not unless I figure out who your alt is. But even then, like, as long as you're not causing shit, I kind of don't care. Like, that's the thing. Like,
so honest.
I was causing shit. Now I feel bad.
Well, anyway.
No, I'm kidding. Go on. I'm sorry.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit.
But so, like, I don't know any classic lullabies other than, like, the Rockabye Baby one. And so when my daughter was an infant, I'd hum her songs from Ocarina of Time because I played the shit out of that game. Like, so I can still, to this day, with her being her age, go in there and start humming Empona's song, and she'll calm the fuck down. Like, it's great. Next game would probably have to be, it's a close tie between Skies of Arcadia, which, like, for the Dreamcast specifically, because fuck the GameCube version, and Final Fantasy VI. Like, so it's a close tie between those 2.
Good call.
Third, and this is a really, really weird choice, or at least I think it is, it might not be, Pokemon Snap for the N64.
Blab, what do you think about that? Blab, what do you think about that Pokemon choice?
I haven't played Pokemon Snap. It's one of the only ones I haven't. But I mean, I'm sure it's a good recommendation.
Blab could tell you about 999, though, I bet.
I could. I'll be like a Jehovah's Witness. Do you have a moment to talk about 999?
That's awesome. What game consoles are you into right now or most excited for?
Well, I'm kind of in love with my PS3 because
SDC.
It's just what I don't know. It's always been there for me. It had Ni no Kuni in The Last of Us last year, which was amazing. I still haven't had a chance to play Left Behind. I'm glaring at you right now. My boyfriend type thing isn't here, and we were supposed to play it on Valentine's Day, but instead we elected to do other, like, actual, like, couple things. But so I've been meaning to play that, and so as far as games that I'm looking forward to this year, I honestly can't think of too much that I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait for this to come out, like, that I'm super, super hyped for.
Are you excited about that Persona 5 reveal?
Sorry?
Persona 5?
Persona 5, so I've never actually played anything in the Persona series. I'm actually really, like, everyone is like, you own a Vita and you haven't done that? Okay, you're not allowed to play Bravely Default and you have to play...
Persona 4.
I do love me some JRPGs.
Good.
JRPGs suck. Moving along.
Oh my god!
I'm just kidding. Final Fantasy IV is one of my favorite games of all time, hands down. Actually, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this with a straight face. You gonna cut me, animal? You gonna shank me?
I'm gonna cut you.
You gonna shank me with a whittled down toothbrush? I don't think that JRPGs have eclipsed Final Fantasy IV. I said it.
Yeah, but you haven't played Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah.
Or Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, the greatest.
Maybe some other time. Blab.
My friend is mentioning the Diablo expansion, which I guess is kind of up there, but it's not like a game. It's an expansion. So I'm going to, and if we're going down that route, I'll say the official release to Hearthstone. So I'm super in love with Hearthstone right now.
Dota 2.
They're 2 totally different games, but thanks for playing.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks for bringing oranges to an apple fight, animal.
Wait, isn't Hearthstone? Wait, what's Blizzard's MOBA?
That's Heroes of Warcraft.
I'm
the same thing.
Hearthstone is a card game, right?
Yes.
Not Heroes of Warcraft. I'm cheating and I'm looking it up on the internet.
All right. Should we go into the redesign of the?
Yeah, I'll take this part.
Right.
And so now we're kind of now that we've gotten through the fun, polite part with our guest Synthia Stardust today, we're now going to enter into a little bit more of the controversial section. And feel free, guys, to jump in whenever needed. But I'm going to lead these questions here. The first thing I want you to do, Synthia, is actually talk to us about the challenges behind the redesign.
So rebuilding something that's like a million years old really sucks. In fact, I'm going to go on the record saying it fucking sucks to have to rebuild something of this size. And I didn't personally have like a huge hand in it, but like watching these people kill themselves day after day after day to try and make this work was hard to watch some days. Like there were people who like I get to the office at 7 a.m. and I don't leave until like 5 or 6 on some days, and they would have been like, no, yeah, I slept in the back. Like it was heart-wrenching. Like these people have families.
So is the environment, like, if you can cast like an image in our head, is it like you walk in at 7 a.m. with like your coffee and like there's like 15 coders just sitting there like busting ass trying to like make the website?
Like 4 or 5. Like there isn't a huge team here, which I'm going to go ahead and take an opportunity to let everybody know that we're currently hiring here at GameSpot for things like developers and I believe an entry-level editorial position. So for those of you who like to go, oh, I could do that better, I would like to offer you the chance to prove it.
Wow, that's breaking news on Pedal to the Metal. Let me ask you this question then. What are the things that you feel like you guys got right and wrong with the initial launch? Now, if I can preface this a little bit, I'm going to say from my own personal perspective, I was invited to the beta. I used the beta. I actually thought that I think still to this day, that there are wonderful, wonderful things about the redesign. The notifications bar, I love, namely being probably the greatest addition to it. But what are the things in your own perspective as you look at it now? And I guess I'm not asking you to like, shit all over somebody's hard work, but
right.
What are the things that you think that you guys got right, and what are the things that you guys think you got wrong?
So the idea of the tool got better. And by the tool I mean the tools for users to produce content or to share content. They did get a little bit better. Like the only reason why I feel as somebody who made content on the site, the only reason why we remember it working was because we as a community had established so many goddamn Band-Aid fixes for everything that it just seemed like second nature to us. The goal was, and still is, to foster a community that can easily share and create content. And when the tools are working, and the tools on like a stage perspective, they seem to be glorious. They're easy and they're smooth and they run without hiccup, but unfortunately that doesn't always translate over for some dumb reason. Like images, for example, are completely fucked. Like you get 3 different size categories, technically only 2. There's big and then there's fucking huge. And then you have to sort of choose where it's going to live, and it's awkward, but on the test site it looks perfectly fine. So that's something that we're actively working towards fixing. I mean, as far as things that we did really, really well, I like to say the idea of what we want to be soon, because it's always coming soon. And I know that that's so frustrating to hear. Trust me, I grind my teeth every time I have to sit through a meeting where I go, so when is this going to get fixed? Oh, soon. Oh, okay, so when are we getting this feature? Soon. When are we getting this? Soon. Yeah. Like, I can't tell you how frustrated I get. And they're all working hard, and it's all true. Like, there's stuff that just, like, they'll be working on a project, and all of a sudden something else will fall into their laps, because a lot of the developers have multiple hats, and they can't focus on one particular thing, especially because, as I mentioned before, we're not as big as a lot of people think we are. Like you were saying, like, is it, like, 15 people? I'm like, no, it's, like, 5. Mm-hmm. Like, we're a really lean team.
Yeah, and no, go ahead.
But so, like, the one thing that I think that we did right was the dream. As cheesy as that sounds, there's a lot that needs improving. Like, a painful amount that needs to be fixed. And I see that, and I read everything in the forums, and I report back to the developers, and they see all of this feedback, and, like, I can see their faces just, like, cringe so slightly, because, like, they want to fix these things. Like, they don't want to, this is their name on this stuff. Like this is like you were saying, your baby is your site and your podcast. Like this is their baby. This is their work. Like the way that it is right now, like it might be hard for some of them to be like the guy whose job it is to work on mobile. Like I can imagine it might be hard for him on some days to want to be like, yep, that's mine. Because it sometimes just doesn't work, or it looks bad, or it's not updating. Like it's rough right now. So yeah, if I were to say like one thing that we've done right, it's the dream and the idea. I think we have a really solid plan. I just wish that we were Time Lords and we could like stop time, fix everything in an appropriate frame, and then present it to you guys the way you guys deserve to have it presented to you.
So do you believe, and I'm going to let Blab wants to ask a question, but before we get to that, I mean, I guess as a follow-up, in your heart of hearts, do you believe that we're going to arrive at a point where people are fixated on the new GameSpot in a way where it drives, hits back to the site?
I mean, I like to think so. I mean, we have really amazing, we have really good content, and we have really interesting personalities. And I know that some of you dislike some of them, some of you straight like and definitely hate some of the talent that we have here. Like I read your comments, I see them, and I hear your voice and I understand where you're coming from. Trust me, there are days where I look at, there's one editor in particular, and I won't say who, but I'm just like, I disagree with everything that you're saying right now. But you know what? I respect you enough to not go toe to toe with you.
So as someone who's given you and a lot of other people on this site a lot of shit before, first of all, I'm sorry about that. But
you deserve a lot of it, to be quite honest with you. Like,
yes.
Or rather, not that we deserve it, but I get where you're coming from, and I get that like really ultimately all you're saying is this is my home. Please stop. Like it's when like a mountain lion decides to like claw or bite at you, it's not necessarily that he hates you, it's just that you're in his home or you're in his area and he kind of wants to like make sure that you're not going to fuck it up. Like long story short, like the situation was far from perfect. Like if you were to ask anybody who, I'm pretty sure you could ask pretty much anybody, like, so what the fuck was with the site redesign, we'll all be more than willing to admit, yeah, it wasn't perfect. And it didn't go nearly as intended.
Yeah, so then from that, I remember back when the news first broke, I think Lark had done those kind of fireside chats with everybody about, what was going to be happening and how there was going to be some pretty drastic changes. And, I think the community kind of reacted in a couple of different ways. Either they were totally just straight out rejecting it, or they were willing to listen. And I think that was evident by some of the hits and some of the people listening to those fireside chats responses. But one of the things that stood out to me, and I know, Synthia, you and I have chatted in the past over Skype and whatnot, but there have been things that were originally said were going to be taken out of the site. Things like I think it was your post counts or your levels, things like that ended up staying. And I know at one point you and I had chatted about how, you were maybe in a meeting, like fighting tooth and nail, or with whoever you need to fight with in a suit, to keep certain elements of the old site to make us happy. And I think that, the general community might see you guys up on high, kind of like changing the stuff that we love, but when in fact you're actually someone that's lobbying for us and the things that we like about GameSpot in the background. Were there things that we are now enjoying on GameSpot that you and your team lobbied for to absolutely keep in the new GameSpot?
If you enjoy signatures at all, you're welcome.
I think it's important. I think it's important that you say things like that, because I mean there are people that were like totally pissed about like losing certain things, and we ended up getting to keep them. And I don't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
Had a hiccup. That's fine. So post count, like, or how long you've been a part of the site, those were things that weren't there for a little while, and then we brought them back because again, like. So here's the thing. Shy of your avatar and your signature, it's really hard to have and your username, it's hard to have an identity in an online forum. It's difficult. It is in fact painfully awkward to exist in a text-only format. It's like, as much as I love Reddit, one of the only reasons why Reddit does, well, not one of the only reasons, but one of the things that makes me feel better about Reddit is having Reddit flair. So people can identify me not only by username, but also by like whatever flair I happen to have.
Verified email,
Right.
and other stuff like that. Yeah.
These are all essential points to a member of a community feeling like they're a part of a community instead of just this weird, stupid shadow who's just shouting into this box. Like, the fact that I can identify some of you based off of your avatars, like, I can look in a string of comments and be like, I recognize that guy. Like, I know that he's constantly in here and he's constantly saying this thing. Like, those are all super important. And sometimes people on a higher end go, yeah, those aren't that important. And I firmly say, you're wrong.
Like, I think that was one of everyone's favorite parts.
They are. Sorry?
No, I was going to say, I think that's one of everyone's favorite parts about the old GameSpot, especially, because the way that SIGs, like, when they were gifts and they had all these, they could fill it up with all these, like, their Xbox gamer tags, their PSN profile, they could do whatever they wanted.
Right.
To a certain extent.
Right.
And I think that was one of people's favorite parts about the old GameSpot.
So as much as it was everyone's favorite part of the problem of that was that it was getting abused. So I want to be really clear about this. One of the only reasons why we have some of the weird restrictions that we do is because there are jerks out there who want to ruin it for the rest of you. It's like how in the comment section how staff members can upload GIFs and you guys can't. It's because, like, it was like February 2012, a handful of people realized that they could upload GIFs from anywhere. And
I remember this.
And they just started flooding every corner of the comment section that they possibly could with really graphic porn.
Or like, that was terrible. I remember that.
Or like abortion GIFs and just this, like, the bile of the internet.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, it was like it, and I had to moderate this. Like, this isn't something that just gets filtered through by some master computer. Like, a human being has to sit down and delve through this. Like, so there were days that I can remember coming into work and just being like, oh, that's a giant plowing into a hamster? Okay. Like, it was the stuff that I've seen. It's like... But so the point is that, like, so the thing with this, and granted, nobody was really uploading that kind of stuff with signatures. I mean, every once in a while you get that guy who is like, I'm going to have gratuitous panty shot that's, like, super, like, so she's, like, there's white stuff dripping down her chin, and when we pan up, we'll realize that she's just actually brushing her teeth, so haha, joke's on you. But, like, that stuff
Adobe
is still...
artist.
Lord have mercy, Ruika, who has joined us?
We do want to welcome Darkspine Slayer. Had wanted to come in and actually he just popped in for a little bit here. Darkspine, how are you tonight, buddy?
Oh, pretty good.
Excellent. You're on with Synthia and Blab and the rest of the gang at Pedal to the Metal, so it's good to see you. We're just talking a little bit about the site redesign. I'm going to lead to the next question. This is kind of a big one, and does it concern you, Synthia, or anyone at the team that the site, as far as the forums are concerned, have visibly slowed down? I don't think that it's any the stats are all right in front of us all the time. I mean, System Wars certainly does move at a fairly quick pace, but nowhere near where it used to. Does it concern you?
No, it's absolutely seeing people leave the forums it's I don't want to say heartbreaking because it's going to trivialize that particular phrase, but it's like seeing your friends or people that you just recognize or that are familiar faces just leaving you. It's a weird feeling. I don't like it. Like, I actively try and reach out to people and I'm like, hey, so what can I do, me personally? Like, do I need to stay later and, like, grab a developer by the ear and yell at him some more? Do I need to start poking people with sticks? Like, what do I need? Like, I think part of how you and I started interacting beyond Pedal to the Metal was I think that you had a beef at some point, and I was just like, I want to hear more about this. Like, I can't remember what it was specifically, but I remember, like, one of you from Pedal to the Metal had an issue. And I was just like, I really like this show. I think it was like community content or something. I can't quite remember. Because you were like, yeah, we used to have the soapbox. And that was a whole, like, I have spent so many hours trying to fight for that fucking thing. And, like, I will get there one of these days. Like,
yeah,
I've not given up the fight on that. But so, yeah, it's terrifying to think of everybody leaving. I don't like it. I don't like that. There are people who are like, yeah, I'd rather make an alt and just troll so that I can get on Feedbackula. Like, I fucking hate that.
So what would you say to those people who left GameSpot?
or an active member of GameSpot, period, be them a blogger, a reviewer, or just somebody who likes to read our content but feels that no longer they are welcome here for whatever reason, be it that the site is buggy or slow or just not what they want, my message to them is, I miss you. I miss what you did for my home. I want you to come back. If you have any type of suggestion, I'm always willing to listen to them. I might not always be able to act on them, but I will sure as fuck go to bat for anything that makes sense.
Wow.
And I don't speak passionately too often about too many things, but this is one of those things. Like, everyone's like, oh, you don't fucking care. You're never in the site. You don't actually give a shit about us. If you actually gave a shit about us, you'd actually post more often. And
that sounds like me.
Yeah.
It's actually
good blab impression.
Got my voice down.
I don't have infinite time. I work 50 hours a week doing social promotion as well as integration for the site, making sure that things are going okay, making sure that you guys aren't trying to fucking kill each other, making sure people aren't trying to attack editors. Like, and then I go home at night and then I answer all the moderator questions. And then I'm also a mom, and God help me, I like to have a weekend. Like, so I try, and it's kind of like, I miss Jody, like, and we can talk about that another time if you'd like, but Jody was also one of those super strong forces that would like work herself to death to try and make everyone happy and couldn't ever succeed. And if the great Jody Robinson has a hard time making all of you guys happy, like, I want to try, I really do, but it's hard sometimes, especially because
You can never ever please the masses.
No, right. There's why I
just
agree that people have the right to complain and people have the right to be sore about things, or people have the right
of course.
And again, if it makes sense, I will try and fight for you guys. Like, people who are like, I want better tools. Like, you guys deserve the ability to search for a fucking game based off of genre. When that feature wasn't brought over, I was like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? And they were like, well, we just don't have time right now. And I'm like, I understand that. My statement still remains, what the fuck? What the actual fuck?
No, but I mean, from Cynthia's standpoint also is that, yeah, I mean, I get what she's saying. Like, if it's not a labor of love, if you're just thinking about paying the bills, if you're just thinking about your mortgage and your rent, then, something like a GameSpot is going to fall away pretty quickly. It's got to be about, your enthusiasm for what you're actually doing.
But
so
you have to have enthusiasm while paying the bills is what I'm saying.
Well, sure.
There's a healthy balance. All right,
yeah.
I actually gotta get going soon. So, like, let's do maybe like one more question and a wrap.
Yeah, sure. We're gonna wrap it up. I just want to ask you one more thing, I guess, and we'll go from there. And we're gonna let Dark Spine jump in too if he has one. The TOU right now on GameSpot, and managing GameSpot in general. The TOU's gone through a lot of changes over the past. I mean, just a few years ago, it felt incredibly restrictive. Where yeah, where you couldn't even say, boo without getting, a 7-day ban. And then, right. All of a sudden the floodgates opened and everything changed on GameSpot. Personally, and I'm just going to throw this in there, I loved when you guys opened the floodgates because I'm a firm believer that the good rises to the top and the shit falls off the table. So,
right. So am I, actually. Which is part of why I fought for that change. Like, so for people who were like, that was the worst fucking thing that ever happened to GameSpot, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just me, and there were a lot of other people who agreed with me, but I was looking at other sites and I was like, why are we so fucking draconian?
Right.
Like, it's okay to go into a forum and say, I'm fucking excited about Titanfall. If you're okay with Titanfall. But it's okay to have that level of enthusiasm if that's the way you need to talk. The issue really comes from how you decide to use those words. So when a user comes in and they're like, fuck you for liking Nintendo, that's when the word fuck becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I don't personally care if you say like fuck yeah, that's fine. But if you're like fuck you, then it becomes an issue. If you're being a jerk, stop. Just stop.
Right. So then the as far as the TOU, are you happy with where it is? I guess that's where I was leading with the question is, are you happy with where the TOU is, or do you see more revisions down the road?
So one of the cool things about working in gaming and working in a community in which there are so many people is that it's constantly evolving. It's also one of the more stressful points. There will never be a final draft of a terms of service agreement as far as what we allow and what we disallow on the forums. It will never actually happen. Things will change, times will change. Like, for example, we live in California. There are a lot of people who smoke pot recreationally. And so every once in a while, I'll get a user who'll come by who's just like, can I have this pot leaf in my avatar? And I'm like, okay, so federal law is greater than, not federal law, state law. So technically, like for me on a personal level, I want to say, yeah, sure, go ahead. Like as long as you're being respectful about it and as long as you're not being a jerk, I really don't care. Sorry, don't care seems aggressive. As long as you're not being a jerk about it, or you're not being oppressive, or you're not being negative about your emotion, I want you to feel like you have a voice. The second, however, you start telling people that like pot is a really rough, because it's such a friendly fucking thing. Like I can't, but like the second you start to become aggressive about your message, that's when I want to stop you. And so like it's not a part of any official TOU, but like the grand scope of things is don't be a jerk. If you're being a jerk, you should stop. Now, the forums are a completely different situation, and this is where the mods and I sometimes fall apart, because certain forums behave in certain ways. So the example that I've given the moderators, or at least a lot of the old guard, because they had the hardest time switching over. Well, maybe not the hardest time, because that's not fair, but some of them, it's not a very clear message, and I don't fault them for that at all. But so I like to think of System War as like a biker bar. People are going to say shit. People are probably going to throw shit. People are probably going to start little fucking fights. But it's fine because it's all little lighthearted jabs and nobody's really getting hurt. It's just the way you guys talk to each other. Now, the second somebody from System Wars takes that same etiquette style into, say, primary games, and they start becoming aggressive with a primary games person, I like to think of primary games as like a piano bar. People are a little bit more like snooty or high class. I like to throw... or they just want to have conversations. They don't want to have fights, or they don't want to start arguments. They just want to sort of celebrate the culture. When you take somebody from the biker bar element and they put it inside of the piano bar, it causes problems. And I don't necessarily fault a user for having a hard time making that transition. And I usually just give people verbal warnings. I'm usually very clear, and I'm like, hey, so you said this thing in this board, or you said this thing in this comment section. I'm just going to let you know that I kind of want you to improve your posting behavior. Like if you're looking to post that kind of thing, we have a place for you, kind of. I mean, there are some people that I'm just like, no, stop it. But like, I want to be able to foster a community that suits different types of communication.
Yep.
It's not always easy to do. There's a lot of you people. It's like, and it's just me and the mods. Like we try really hard to just make sure that you guys have a good time posting and that you want to be here, and we try and shepherd you where we think that you will have the most fun. Like I know I personally wouldn't have fun in like a dance club in which there is the dubsteps and like the bros and the Jersey girls, and like I personally wouldn't thrive in that particular community, but like in like a goth club where like there's weird like old music from like Tool or A Perfect Circle where people are like smoking clove cigarettes and drinking red wine like there's no tomorrow, like that's my environment. That's where I feel comfortable. Like I could sit there and I could have a conversation like a human without feeling awkward.
Where can I find these nightclubs?
Jersey ones or the goth ones?
No, the goth ones.
So actually in San Francisco there's a place every Monday night called the not the one that I was just about to say, and I'm not going to just stop myself before people start Googling shit. And they learn.
I live in New York, so
you get those hookah clubs, Animal.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's called there's a San Francisco club called the Death Guild every Monday night, and so like it's just like people are like it's old 80s goth music, and just like I said, people smoking, people drinking, people being relaxed, doing that weird graver stuff that looks like the undead female dance from fucking World of Warcraft. Like it's great.
I just quit smoking. I'd love
it's like the smell. So like I don't like to actually inhale. I just like being around smokers. Like Joy and Dan are big cigarette smokers, and it's just like it feels comfortable. Anyway, so back to to go back to your question about the terms of service. No, it's not perfect. Yes, there's room for improvement. I'm always open to suggestions, and if any moderator out there is being aggressive with you or trying to tell you like you're wrong constantly, let me know. I am technically their manager in this particular situation. I'm not okay with the moderator being aggressive with a user, especially if it's their first time, because sometimes they just don't know any better. there's different rules for different sites, and we can't expect you guys to know them all. The terms of service is like 4 fucking pages, and you guys have a hard time reading a 2-page review where a reviewer will praise a game for every possible aspect, but because they didn't give it a perfect score, it all of a sudden means that we hate it. Like, so I can't really expect you guys to read 4 pages of 10 font doc.
Right.
Like,
all right. Well, yes. No, all right. So Synthia, we've kept you on here for quite a long time, well over an hour, and we know you want to probably get home. And right before we close up and say thank you, I just want to ask you 2 things, and I only want you to answer within 10 seconds for each of them. Number 1, is there any hope for people with people who are in unions? Will they ever see a union again on GameSpot, or is the book closed on that? And second question is, I fully vouch for Blabadon. I want him back. Is there anything Blabadon can do to come back to GameSpot?
No, don't bring him back. Don't bring him back.
Like, from what he was saying, I'm like, okay, so you're already clearly lurking on something else. But, like, I have no beef with Blabadon personally, and I have no beef with him on any other level. They're just, like, little things. Anyway, as far as union people go, I love you. I want you all to have a home. I'm actively working on ways to try and figure out a way that I can give you a home. It's just rough right now when we don't even have some of the barest of bare bones. I mean, you guys have your complaints about, I'm going over 10 seconds, so I suggest you deal with it. But so, like, there are things that are a part of the site that need to be fixed or need to be implemented that aren't already there. So unions, I don't know when they're going to happen or if they're going to happen, but I love unions. I loved the fact that I could go into a My Little Pony union and gush about the latest episode. The fact that I can't do that anymore is a little frustrating. And yes, I can go to forums, but the problem is that a lot of these decisions who are being made by people don't use the boards in the way we do. And they're like, oh, but this is for a very small niche group. And I'm like, because we didn't foster it for fucking 5 years. We left it to die. Like, we can't expect it to still be booming and thriving if we didn't give them anything. Like, I'm surprised it lasted that long. I'm gonna be completely honest. The fact that people were willing to sit there and do Band-Aid fix after Band-Aid fix in hopes of keeping their home alive was awe-inspiring.
Yep.
It's like when you
crazy, but
put
mainly,
your foot, yeah.
The fact that there were people who tried so hard to keep it alive was magic. Like, it was literally impressive to just see, like, people would figure out workarounds. Like, Rob was one of those people who was just like, I will find a way to give you guys a way to communicate the way that you need to. And that's beautiful. Like, it's because it's all about talking, and it's all, like, that's the whole point of a fucking forum, is the ability to share your thoughts and your ideas with another human being.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah, so then if you are out there in System Wars land listening right now, then you need to remember that speak up, because you never know. Unions could someday come back, and we found out that Blab can come back to GameSpot. I think that's is that what we discovered?
No, I don't want him back.
Shut up, Animal. I want to hear Synthia.
I'm not encouraging people to ban dodge because again, there are people out there who want to ruin it for everybody else. Like,
what about my main account? Could I get unbanned on that one?
Yeah, we're implying he's not ban dodging already.
Send me an email.
Wait. Let her finish.
She said send her an email.
Yeah, send me an email. I believe one of these fine gentlemen has access to that. Go ahead and share that information with him, so it's not online for everybody to just start blasting me with stuff. Just the at games.
And my request for mod ships, right? We saw, right, Eureka?
Oh Jesus! Everybody's asking Synthia for something. Yeah. All right, well, Synthia, we're not.
That's my job.
You asked for the Titanfall controller, Jeff. So.
I'm here to try and.
Jeff, you want the Titanfall controller? Right here, bitch.
I actually want the Titanfall. Can I have that? Can I have it?
What's your address? I'll send it to you.
You can send it to the Gamespot office, just 235 2nd Street, San Francisco, California, 540.
Cynthia, yeah. Do you see what I've been drinking?
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I'm giving you the address.
Write the address down. Don't tell me.
Sorry,
I'm not going to fucking remember.
Kyle, one more question for System Wars' sake. PS4 or Xbox One? Or Wii?
Yes.
PS4!
Because LOL at the Wii U, that's irrelevant. So.
Fine, we got to hear Synthia. Cynthia will end the System War.
No. I'm not ending it.
Oh, she's so smart. She's smart for not saying anything. I like it.
So,
all right, well, Synthia.
I am an aspiring PC overlord, but console of choice is definitely PlayStation.
Cool.
All
Cool.
right.
Well, Synthia, we want to take a moment then and say thank you, truly thank you for not just enlightening us on the behind the curtain of GameSpot, but also the whole ecosystem and the culture, and basically your thoughts on everything from the redesign to your gaming habits and everything else in between. So we truly do thank you for taking the time to do this with us today.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yep. And
All
we
right,
want to
guys.
yeah. We're going to let you bounce out now. So everyone, nice round of applause for Synthia.
Woo!
Thank you.
All right. Again, my door is literally always open. I'm Digital Dame. That's DA Digital Dame on
Send me that address.
on Twitter. I plan on it. Yeah, Dark Souls 2 is actually pretty. I'm pretty hyped for Dark Souls 2.
There we go.
Because God, that game is glorious. Anyway, so yeah, I'm DA Digital Dame on Twitter. You can also PM me because I check that constantly. I don't know what I did to my computer, but it's yelling at me right now.
She just hit it with a hammer.
Sounds like a helicopter went down.
Yes.
Synthia smash.
I don't know what I did. I'm gonna get off now.
All right, bye, Synthia.
Bye. Thanks for listening
Thank you.
and watching and being part of it.
And there she goes. Close up the show then. We're going to say thanks to our guest today. We didn't get to hear a lot from Darkspine Slayer today, but we're glad that he popped in to take a listen. Darkspine, what's going on, dude?
Oh shit, I'm still here. Whoa. No, I just wish I did better math and was here on time. Fuck.
Yeah, we started early tonight because we were trying to accommodate her schedule. So, but we're glad to have you on. We're going to actually do a handheld show for our next one, where we're going to have Blab come on. We're hoping you can come on, and we're going to try to get Charizard to come on. Although every time I think he's going to be on Pedal to the Metal, he fucking disappears. So maybe Blab can help me with that.
He'll be on next time.
All right, we also want to say thank you then to Blabadon. Blabadon, it looks like you are possibly one email away from getting your ban revoked. So hopefully we can take care of that for you. And you can forever be in debt to Pedal to the Metal. Congratulations. Kicking it over to Heil68. Heil, get us out of here, dude.
Anyway, yeah, so I guess till next time, right? Or not?
Yeah.
We gonna have it next time?
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a 1 year anniversary here next month, so we'll have to do something to knock
Holy
out for
hell.
that for sure.
Yep, March is 1 year of Pedal to the Metal, and we're going to do some special shows for you guys, get a lot of the community involved, and we hope to see you guys there.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, for heroic Animal Mother, Blabadon, and Darkspine Slayer, this is Heil68. Later.
See ya.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.